Hi, this is William Smith from CX Today, bringing you all the latest customer experience industry news. Today I'm thrilled to be joined by Tim Armstrong, Vice President, Product and Marketing at Nectar, to find out a little bit about digital experience insights from the IVR to the agent. Tim, welcome.
Thanks, Will. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get started, I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and also the company.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been with Nectar almost 6 years, and it's been a great ride. We've really revolutionized our company, especially in the last 2 years, which I'm sure we'll talk about more later. But Nectar is in the business of providing digital experience insights specifically for contact center and for UCaaS environments. So we're exclusively focused on real-time media, so voice, video, and omnichannel communications, and we're entirely focused on enabling support, operations, DevOps teams, again, for both enterprise contact center and UCaaS environments.
Mm-hmm. And can you just describe the kind of capabilities that your CX Assurance Suite enables?
Yeah, really. Well, I mean, from Nectar all up, we break it down into what we call our 4 workloads. So the 4 workloads are monitoring and alerting. So that's paying attention to the environment, whether that be cloud services, on-prem kit, kind of whatever might be involved in delivering the customer journey. And that monitoring piece is definitely core to our history and what we've done a long time. The second workload that we talk a lot about is troubleshooting, and that's just diagnostics. When something has gone wrong, how do you really reduce that mean time to repair? How do you get to the core of it quickly? The third workload that we focus on is testing, and this is a huge space for us in the CX area right now, and that's testing everything from outside in, testing for regression testing, functional testing, load testing, and all the way through to the agent and testing both inbound and outbound, either callback or other types of outbound scenarios. So we do lots of testing there. And then the final category, the final workload that we focus on is analytics, and that's just being kind of that eye in the sky that's reporting on all the things that are happening from a CX standpoint in an organization.
Well, and you mentioned testing there. I wonder, what would you say are the key benefits to companies of proactively going out and testing the customer experience?
Yeah, well, it's so critical. I think the expectations that customers have right now are sky high. I mean, the way in which things work today, people just expect the technology that facilitates all of this to work flawlessly, and they expect the organizations that they're interacting with, be it as customers or as citizens, as kind of whatever it might be, they're expecting that to work flawlessly. And testing has been something that's always been necessary in the contact center and CX space. It's just that for so long it was this tedious manual, kind of inconsistent process that had to be done, just sort of, by humans, right, by one at a time. And we run into a lot of customers that say, well, we've just tested by getting a bunch of people together and start dialing from their cell phones and see if it works, and just kind of manually running through an IVR and manually running through different time of day scenarios and things like that. And that's just always going to be error prone. And so the testing, is necessary, and everyone knows it's necessary. I think really where we're at right now is now people realize that obviously you need to test, but you also need to be able to test in an automated way that can account for all of the different scenarios that could occur when a customer interacts with you and the technology that runs your CX platform.
Well, and right at the start, you mentioned kind of the last 2 years and the evolution that's happened, obviously. And I wonder, how have things changed, and how have you kind of evolved to deal with the new scenario that we live in?
Everything's changed, right? I think that there was, certainly I think it breaks down to a couple different types of categories. Certainly work from home and just the concept of remote agent has completely changed all in the way that these things have to be managed. And this has been the area where we have focused the most. So there's been a number of things that we've done to provide much deeper visibility into the work from home agent, that remote contact center agent, because by the time you make it to an agent escalation, by the time an agent's involved in a customer transaction, most contact center operators know that's a pretty expensive call. Almost every contact center operator knows exactly how much that call costs them. And if that call is compromised, if the customer's experience is compromised by poor quality on a residential network or a home Wi-Fi network, that's really going to kind of take away from the efficiency of that call, and in some cases actually ruin the customer's experience, or certainly damage it. And so to protect that, probably the two biggest advancements that we've made in the last year was first the release of what we call the Nectar Endpoint Client. The Nectar Endpoint Client is an extremely lightweight bit of code that's quietly installed on an agent's laptop or tablet, whatever it might be, and is running to test the health of the network and can figure out where the issue is. So this is something that has been, our customers have been extremely excited about that ability to get visibility into what I would call the last mile of the customer journey, which is that final handoff to an agent, and what the health of that network environment is. So I'd say getting visibility into the endpoint's been key. The Nectar Endpoint Client has been number one. The second has been the fact that now so much of the communications, vast majority for a lot of companies now is controlled in the browser. And so we've also released the ability to get stats from the health of that communication directly from an agent's browser and deliver that back to the administrator and support teams as well. So we've got telemetry from synthetic tests with the Nectar Endpoint Client, and then we've got telemetry of real calls that we can capture from the browser in a WebRTC session.
And with the pandemic obviously putting a lot of pressure on kind of call volumes, would you say that stress testing has become even more important?
Yeah, and this was something that we were seeing even pre-pandemic. We were starting to see people really wanting to embrace automated testing. And once people understood that these testing services even existed and that they didn't have to be prohibitively expensive, this is something that people have really started to embrace. And I think that's the other thing that's shifted. When we came into this market a few years ago, pre-pandemic, it was, really we came in with the idea of disrupting us, kind of slightly niche industry of load testing that was dominated by one or two players that were very, very expensive and in many cases cost prohibitive for a lot of organizations. And so we have found that we were getting a lot of interest in load testing pre-pandemic. But yeah, I would say kind of right at the beginning of the pandemic, there was no point in load testing. So it was just because load was real.
Right.
And so there wasn't as much where we saw the load testing at that time, and still continue to see it a lot, is in cloud migration. So people moving from legacy on premises systems to cloud cloud contact center platforms. So that remains a major area for load testing. And then there's always the seasonal testing, and just getting ready for peaks in traffic. As you and I talk right now, we're coming into the holiday season, and certainly for retailers and other organizations where end of year is critical, they've done their load testing to make sure that they can handle those call volumes.
Are there any other kind of big use cases that you can kind of mention that your product is being used for at the moment?
I think probably the biggest trend that we've seen where we've really adapted our product is in automation. There's so much good automation in IT right now. So many great products taking advantage of the kind of artificial intelligence and just sort of the machine learning scripting capabilities in IT in general. And this is something that's come to the contact center in a big way. And so integration with traditional DevOps tools that are now being embraced by CX operations because they're using the agile methodology that's been part of software development for years, is now being embraced certainly by the CX community and contact center operations. And so that whole DevOps tools integration has been another really big trend that we've seen and continue to see a lot of interest in, where people can build scripts in the testing, automation tools that they want, and then execute them via an API and into our tool.
And looking to the future, how do you see your offering kind of evolving? What kind of new technologies are you keeping an eye on?
Yeah, I think it's certainly cloud, right? I think
Yeah.
that more and more things are moving to the cloud, and even bespoke solutions where people are taking advantage of CPaaS offerings and building some sort of custom agent experience type things. So we're continuing to invest in the agent experience. And I do think that going into the next year plus, I think that agent experience is really, that's an area where we're going to continue to see a whole lot more interest. It's
Mhm.
CX is top of the list, right? CX is always going to be top of the list because protecting that customer's experience is paramount. But I think when you look at agent churn and just kind of overall agent health and the frustration levels that agents can have when the tech doesn't work like it's supposed to,
Mhm.
being able to focus on the agent experience and do some things with emulators and testing that kind of a call coming in from the outside all the way through to an agent and just making sure that entire journey is working well so that when an agent does take a call, the technology has done its job. It's captured the information that it should have from the caller. It's presented that agent appropriately to the agent,
Mhm.
and of course that we've got good quality voice. So I think that agent experience is an area that we see growing quite a bit.
Mhm. Well, Tim, thank you so much for sharing your expertise. It's been great to hear from you, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, likewise, Will. It's been great to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And if you've enjoyed this video, please do share on social media and subscribe to our channel as well. This has been William Smith for CX Today. Thank you for watching.